Oh, he's gonna look at that while he's speaking?
I don't know.
Oh,
We'll have it on.
okay.
To his benefit, he's giving PowerPoint
Yeah,
presentation. He
certainly,
doesn't have to
yeah.
turn around like that.
Yeah.
এটাতে কি স্ক্রিন ইয়ে আছে?
এটাতে মানে ওই যে একটা প্রজেক্ট হচ্ছে
Can
সেটা
you
আপনি
tilt it
বুঝতে
back?
পারবেন,
Yeah, like.
স্পিকার বুঝতে পারবেন, তাহলে আর ওখানে দাঁড়াতে হয় না।
ও আচ্ছা, তাহলে he can see.
So he doesn't have to do like this. It's like,
That's a good idea.
Can you tilt it back?
that's next version.
Gradual improvement হচ্ছে,
Yes.
progress. এখন AI দিয়ে কি করছো তোমরা? What are the applications of AI?
We are just dealing with natural intelligence.
Actually, I think we do need the blue book because he reads the
AI
closing prayer, right?
Very
We'll leave it
very
there.
powerful.
Yeah,
Okay, so I have 10 minutes and go change,
right.
and that's about it.
Should I change? Is this inappropriate?
Ah.
You are looking good.
Okay. I don't know, I just had this shirt on, it didn't occur to me.
No. Good, sir.
Avi? I guess he left.
এখন বাড়িতেই তো আপনি
হ্যাঁ।
ওদিকে এসে গেছেন তো বাড়িতে?
না, বাড়িতে এসে গেছে, কথাবার্তা বলছে। কালকে বলেছিলাম আজকে he looks little better today.
বাড়িতে আর কে কে আছে ওনার?
বাড়িতে কাকিমা আর ইয়ে মানে যে ইয়ে মানে বৌদি আর কি, ও ছেলে বউ আর একটি বাচ্চা।
আচ্ছা
And then they have a 24-hour nurse একটা কিছু রেখেছে।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা।
Is there another microphone for the harmonium?
It's an idea.
Because that's so far away, it's tall enough. Alright, let's do that. Shouldn't take long.
Ji.
How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Don't you want that to be a little lower down?
Let's see.
Okay.
Wow, how
I
are
sound
you?
good.
Long time no see you. Keeping well?
Yeah, how about
Very good.
yourself?
Very good. Nice
Yeah.
to see you.
Oh, yeah.
Hello. Oh, good. It's already set.
Teresa, have you ever noticed getting doctors without borders?
You live locally? I live in Dartmouth, Massachusetts, about 30
What?
miles.
Never in my life.
Okay.
Until they send
Oh,
me that
is
for
it?
free. Yeah, then I learned about it. But they send it for free.
Okay.
You tell Karina about the concert.
Yes, your trays are down.
Oh, yeah,
We
yes,
are waiting
yes,
for you.
please. Thank you. Oh my God. You guys are too sweet.
Are you at the university there?
Yes, yes, University of Massachusetts.
Yes. What do you teach?
I am in the Civil and Environmental Engineering department.
I see.
My area is environmental engineering. Time to leave for India?
You're going on the fourth night.
4th October.
Yeah.
And for how long?
About 2 weeks.
Oh, only 2 days. A short trip.
Yeah.
Where in India?
So we were planning to go from starting in Delhi, where we are from,
I see.
and we were going to go to Kedarnath.
Oh, okay.
But we just heard today that they have very widespread and severe rains.
Oh, yes, yes.
So they're recommending we were going to go in a van, several family members,
Mhm.
and some of them, because of severe rains, are backing up.
Right,
That
right,
it may
yeah.
not be.
Yeah, it's
So-
pretty bad out there.
Yeah, but
Landslides and all that.
we may just end up going to Rishikesh, Haridwar, and Gangotri. And then we have a 3 days in Banaras and Khajuraho.
Khajuraho.
Yeah.
Very.
The dates are set, but the itinerary is very fluid. Keeps changing.
Yeah, I think they built so indiscriminately on that very loose terrain that now every time there's a major rain, it can't hold the water, so it washes
Yeah,
out all the
yeah.
soil.
To see what happened in Libya also, right?
Yeah, there it was a dam that
Yeah.
was, yeah.
But they said they were not keeping up with the repairs.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And rainfall played some role, I guess.
Where is
Abhijit.
You went down to bring some things downstairs. Here he is, Maharaj. Just brought it down, right?
Om Bhadram Karnaibhiः Shrunuyama Devaः Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraः Sthirairangaiस्तुष्टुवागं Sastanubhiः Vyashemadevahiतं Yadayuः Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us now pray together. So please repeat in loud voice. We offer our salutations to the all-loving being who endows all beings with consciousness. We meditate on the Lord, who is the origin of the universe. Lord, Thou abidest in all, Thou art all, Thou assumest all forms. Thou art the origin and goal of all. Thou art the self of all. Thou art existence, knowledge and bliss. Salutations unto Thee. May the world be peaceful. May the wicked become gentle. May all creatures think of mutual welfare. May our minds be occupied with what is spiritual and abiding. May our hearts be immersed in selfless love for the Lord. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Dear friends, we are very happy that this illustrious Swami from Rio in Brazil has agreed to give a lecture here today, and also he is a wonderful singer. So first we will have him sing and then speak. So a few words by way of his introduction. He joined the Ramakrishna order in 1988 at Sardapet, adjacent to Belur Math, and then got his monastic vows in 1998. He was the head at Mysore Center. Before that, he was an editor of the Kannada monthly journal there. Then he also became head
at Chandigarh before being posted to Brazil, where he is for last 2 years almost. So it is, and he took up this tour of US. This is his second tour of US. First time he came as an assistant or attendant to revered Swami Gautamananji, who is vice president of our order. So he came with him, and I had the privilege of meeting him a few times. And now I am so happy so delighted that he has agreed to come for this, during this tour of his, and agreed to give a lecture on what we can learn from Sri Ramakrishna, or learning from Sri Ramakrishna. But then first let us listen to his singing. So let him start singing. Abhishek, you can. Abhishek came after a long time, so, and as soon as he is here, he is put to his familiar role of tabla player. Thank you, Abhishek.
Sorry, just they're not in the same scale, so I was trying to. This is a song in Bengali written by the famous devotee Girish Chandra Ghosh on Sri Ramakrishna, Dukhini Brahmani Kole. This describes the birth of Sri Ramakrishna, what a great person was born. Unfortunately, I've got a small throat infection on the flight, so please don't mind if my voice cracks. Dukhini Brahmani Kole Keshuye Choyalo Kore Kereyore Digamboro Eshecho Kotiro Ghore Dukhini Brahmani Kole Keshuye Choyalo Kore Kereyore Digamboro Eshecho Kotiro Ghore
মণি ভূতলে অতুল মণি কেরি রে জাদু মণি তাপিত হেরে অবনি তাপিত তাপিত হেরে অবনি এসেছ কি শোকাতরে দক্ষিণী ব্রাহ্মণী করে খেসয়েছ আলোকরে কেরে ওরে দিগম্বর এসেছ কুটির ঘরে দক্ষিণী ব্রাহ্মণী দিতে কি দিতে দেখা গোপনে এসেছ একা বদনে করুণা মাখা হাসো কান্দ কারো তরে মরি মরি রূপ হেরি মরি মরি রূপ হেরি নয়ন ফিরাতে নারী নয়ন ফিরাতে নারী হৃদয় সন্তাপহারি হৃদয় সন্তাপহারি সাদ ধরি হৃদি পরে দক্ষিণী ব্রাহ্মণী কোলে কে শুয়েছ আলোকরে কেরে ওরে দিগম্বর এসেছ কুটির ঘরে দক্ষিণী ব্রাহ্মণী কোলে।
Will be able to make you move the slides.
Which?
Oh, I have it.
Oh, you
Once
have.
I switch it into the other PowerPoint, we'll be able to move it in that, but they're not in the same. So just, once,
Yeah.
they're in it, I'll switch it for the first
Yeah.
one. Yeah, so once,
Okay.
once he needs it, I'll
And-
switch it to
After
that.
he puts those, then they will move.
Yeah. ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. I bow down to Sri Ramakrishna, who is the best among incarnations, or the latest among the incarnations, who revitalized the religions by living those religions. This is a verse which was composed by Swami Vivekananda, the chief disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. I chose this topic, learning from Sri Ramakrishna, for today's talk. My humble pranams to revered Swami Yogatmananji Maharaj for giving me this opportunity to be with you all and to speak about Sri Ramakrishna. You see, we learn from various sources, from books, from our teachers, from our friends, from our parents, and from people whom we admire. Sometimes it's an unconscious process. We learn intentionally. When we go to a school, we are made to learn, forced to learn. And sometimes it's an unconscious process, especially when we admire somebody. We just start emulating that person. We imbibe qualities or traits of that person in an unconscious process. To give you an example, if you've seen musicians, the disciple plays exactly like the master plays. He'll move his head, move his body in the same way as the master used to do or does, especially the tabla players. You will find them exactly as the master used to do. It's an unconscious process. They imbibe it, or they don't want to do it, but it just gets into them. Because they admire their teacher, they like their teacher, so everything of the teacher appeals to them. So, Sri Ramakrishna used to say frequently, I have cast the mold, the framework. All that you have to do is to pour yourself into it, fit yourself into it, and shape yourself, give a shape to yourself. So he has already made a framework, a skeleton for us. We have to just add the flesh and blood and make it a living entity, a living personality. The framework supports and holds the person. If we had no skeleton, all our muscles would fall off, isn't it? So the skeleton is very important. But at the same time, you can't admire or love a skeleton. It has to have a shape and form. It has to have a feel. You should be able to touch it, isn't it? So, Sri Ramakrishna gives us the framework, and we, by trying to understand him, by trying to emulate him, by trying to follow his teachings or his life, the life and the teachings of the direct disciples, we try to add to that skeleton, give a form and shape to that skeleton, and shape ourselves, shape our personalities in that mold. Sri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, the very same idea by Sri Krishna. He says, Yadyadacharati Shreshtaha Tattadevetaro Janaha. Just as people of eminence practice, the common people or the general people emulate or follow. They become role models. In India, especially in India, you find this. The cinema stars, the heroes of the movies are emulated. So the sari or the clothes that the heroine wears becomes popular in the market, and the style of the heroes is emulated by the college boys and college students. So you always try to do something which is well accepted in society, which others respect, which others love. So you become more respected or you become more accepted in society. That is an unconscious hankering that we all have, to be accepted by all, to be loved by all. So it gives you a sense of security, it gives you a sense of belongingness. So to be integrated in the society, to be one with all, this is a innate longing in every animal, in every human being. So Sri Ramakrishna says, I have given you the framework. So now what is the framework that Sri Ramakrishna has given us? The first and the most important thing that he told us is already put here. Ekam sat vipraha bodha vadanti. So the one truth, or truth is one, people call it by various names. They approach it by various names. This is the first thing that we learn from Sri Ramakrishna, that truth can have many facets. He never liked people saying that I believe in this, and so this alone is true, and the others must be believing in something lesser. No, truth is infinite. Truth has many facets. You can approach truth in whichever way you like, whichever appeals to you, whichever is conducive to your growth. So you cannot limit or set boundaries to truth. Just because I like this, this alone is true. This God alone is the best, and all the others are of a lesser grade. No. Sri Ramakrishna never liked this bigotry, fanaticism. He would say, if I have a flute, I would like to play different ragas and raginis, different tunes in that flute. Not only one tune. I don't want it to be monotonous. Onek rag ragini bajati chayami, aghemi hote chayana, he used to say. I don't want to be one-sided, monotonous, dull. I need variety, he would say. So there are so many beautiful incidents in his life. Swami Turiyanandaji, who was a direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, in his pre-monastic life, he was called Harinath. So as a young boy, when he started coming to Sri Ramakrishna, when he was a college student, when he started coming to Sri Ramakrishna, one day, he had just started coming to Sri Ramakrishna, and one day he came to Sri Ramakrishna's room. Sri Ramakrishna's room was always open. He had nothing to hide. So the doors were always open. Anybody could walk into his room and meet him, talk to him. You don't have to take an appointment to see him. So this boy, young boy, came into his room, and it was noon time. Sri Ramakrishna was just about to start his afternoon meal. And usually he would get some prasad from the temple, the food that was offered to Kali in the temple, that used to come to his room, and he was about to start eating the meals. And Harinath, this young boy, observed that Sri Ramakrishna had rice and dal and 3 or 4 varieties of vegetables, curries, as we call it in India, different preparations. So immediately a thought came into Harinath's mind. Oh, this man is a man of religion. He is supposed to be a Paramahamsa, a man who is devoted to God. And here I find him enjoying food, relishing food in separate ways, 3 or 4 varieties of food. He's enjoying a plate. So this doubt came into his mind. So how can a man given to renunciation, a man given to God, how can he enjoy food like this, 3, 4 items, and then relishing it? Sri Ramakrishna could immediately read his mind. He was a master in this. So you did not have to express your thoughts to him. As soon as he saw, he would read your inner mind. He immediately caught the thought process that was going on in this Harinath's mind. He said, you see, my mind is so sensitive. Sri Ramakrishna tells this boy, my mind is so sensitive. It's always tending to go to the one, supreme. So if I mix things and eat, if I eat by mixing things, my mind immediately goes into samadhi and I can no longer eat or be in this world, in this plane. So I need to keep my mind down. I need to hold my mind down by saying, oh, I will eat a little rice with this, I will eat a little rice with that. Somehow I have to tie my mind down to these petty, small desires. Otherwise, the mind is always running towards unity, going towards the one. So this is a mind which is called as urdhvagami mana in Sanskrit. In our Indian scriptures, we say a mind which is always tending to the supreme. The general mind that we experience is the adhogami mana, which is always tending to go down. Okay, so confused and so restless, always disturbed or distributed to so many things. So whereas his mind is a mind which is always rising above. He has to forcefully hold it down, bring it down through these simple, innocent desires. Oh, I'll eat a rasgulla, I'll drink water. You can find these examples in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Many times, to bring his mind down to the ordinary level and to be able to talk to the devotees during the satsangs and other things, he would say, oh, let me have a little water. I will eat a small sweet, or something like that. So his mind would come down, and holding to that, he would not eat much. Oh, maybe just he would touch it or even forget to eat it. He would not even eat it. But that desire would bring his mind down to a level wherein he could talk to the people about God. So, Sri Ramakrishna teaches us this first important thing. Don't be one-sided. Don't be bigoted in your opinion. Accept everything. Include everything. Be inclusive in your approach. This is the greatest contribution of Sri Ramakrishna to the modern age. Without this attitude, we cannot be one society today. You all know how much of hatred, how much of difference of opinion is there amongst the people today, amidst religions today. So Sri Ramakrishna gives us the solution by saying, learn to live with others, love others, hold on to your path, but at the same time accept everyone as true. And Sri Ramakrishna would say, as long as I live, so long do I learn. There is no end to learning. So that is why we go on learning from Sri Ramakrishna. There is no end to learning from Sri Ramakrishna. The moment you think that I know, that's your downfall. As soon as you think I have understood something, that means you are blocking your mind, the learning process. To have an open mind, to be always learning, to be willing to accept others' opinions, that's an important part of human development. So all these ideas of Sri Ramakrishna are connected. You see, he didn't like anybody to be one-sided, bigoted, because that shows egoism or lack of learning, isn't it? So Sri Ramakrishna, you read Sri Ramakrishna, you try to understand Sri Ramakrishna, you will find all his ideas are so well integrated. They all form a wonderful unity. You practice one, and it helps you to inculcate the other ideas also. Sri Ramakrishna would say frequently, I have practiced 16 parts. You practice just one part. I have done all the rest for you. Just take up one path, one part of it, and do it sincerely, and you will reach the truth, he would say. So, he has shown us the way, he has shown us the path. All that we need to do is just sincerely practice as much as possible. He knows that it is not possible for us to do everything. That is why he says, just do one part of it, not 16 parts. This was the Catholicity of Sri Ramakrishna. This was the love of Sri Ramakrishna for us. Now, shall I move on to the slides? Yeah. This is about the Ramakrishna Vivekananda and Vedanta movement in Brazil. You know that in the West, we call these centers of the Ramakrishna movement as Vedanta centers or Vedanta movements. So, the Vedanta movement in Brazil, there are many interesting facets to this. I will go on telling you one by one.
That's the middle one?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thank you. So this is the Brazil map that you see here. We have 5 centers in Brazil, of which 3 are official independent centers. 2 are sub-centers of our Sao Paulo center. Initially, Sao Paulo center was the main center with Swami Atmajnananda, who is the president, and the spiritual guru of Brazil region. Later on, 2 more centers were added by the headquarters, one in Curitiba and one in Rio. So we have 3 official centers and 2 sub-centers, one in the capital, Brasilia, and another in Belo Horizonte. That's also an important city. Belo Horizonte is a famous city because that region, Minas Gerais, is full of mines. Gold was discovered there in 1700, and it has many precious stones also. Diamonds, golds, and very colorful crystals are found there. So naturally, as soon as gold was discovered, there was a gold rush, just as it was in the Americas. And many European settlers came in search of gold, and the indigenous people, the aboriginals who are there, who are also called Indians, sorry, they had been living, according to the studies, anthropological studies and excavations that have been done in many parts of South America. These aboriginals, or the local people, they had been living there, especially in that Minas Gerais area, for more than 10,000 years. Okay? So it was not a new discovery or not a new continent that was discovered when the Portuguese came there. The Portuguese came there only in 1500. And as soon as they came there, they started occupying the lands, as they do in any colony. And they subdued the locals. Thank you. I'll please have a little water. The locals were brutally killed, unfortunately, and a very few tribes still remain, and they are a protected group. The government gives them protection. They are distributed in the Amazonian forests or in some other areas. And because of the gold rush, you have Europeans, you have Portuguese, you have Germans, you have Italians, you have Lebanese, you have Japanese who came into Brazil after the Second World War. So the people, the population in Brazil is a mixed population. They are not belonging to any one particular country or custom. So this has a very good advantage, because the people in Brazil, though they speak Portuguese as the official language, they know French, they know Italian, they can speak, some of them can speak German, Spanish, of course, and they are open to ideas. They integrate very well. Okay? They don't hold on to only one particular set of customs or belief system. They are Christians. 90% of them are Christians, Catholics mainly, and the remaining are Protestants. Very few practice Buddhism. But most of the youngsters don't go to the church. They want to be free in their thinking. They call themselves as spiritual but not religious. Okay? So this is the trend that is there now. But there are people who are very faithful and who have a lot of feeling emotionally. They integrate very well. They love to meet people, love to talk and then introduce and help. So this is a very nice population. So this is Brazil. So if you see here in the next, Brazil forms a big part of South America. It is the 5th largest country in the world. After Russia, China, USA, Canada, Brazil comes the 5th biggest country in the world. And although a big country, More than 1/3 of Brazil is occupied by the Amazon rivers and the Amazon forests, which is practically inaccessible. Thick forest, one of the most beautiful forests that you can find. And this is, these are the lungs of the entire world. Okay, they provide sustenance for the world. So Brazil is a rich country naturally. In the natural resources, you have the oceans, you have the mountains, you have the forests, everything that God can give. It's a beautiful country. You know, Rio is one of the most beautiful countries in the most beautiful cities in the world. It was the capital of Brazil. Only 65 years back, the capital was shifted to central part of Brazil, which is Brasilia now. So Rio was the capital, and the other countries, most of the other countries speak Spanish. Okay, the Spanish occupied most of the other countries. So Argentina is our biggest neighbor. We have a center in Argentina. The movement started in Argentina first. So coming to that, how did the interest in Vedanta start in South America? So after Swami Vivekananda became popular in the Parliament of Religions, by speaking in the Parliament of Religions in 1893, the reports of his success, the reports of his lectures in the Parliament were widely reported in the papers in Argentina, Brazil, and all these regions. So people got interested. Here was a person whose ideas were new to them and were open, were universal. So they started liking those ideas. So by 1909, a group was formed, a Freemason group, movement was formed called Livaria do Círculo Esotérico by one Antonio Olívio Rodrigues. Okay, he was a Portuguese. Then he selected 4 patrons or 4 role models for the people to emulate in Brazil. You still have that foundation in Sao Paulo. They have a beautiful library. I'll show you the picture. So they have a beautiful library with books by Swami Vivekananda, Karma Yoga, Raj Yoga. All these books are available in Spanish. So he used to conduct regular classes or arrange lectures by different prominent people on Vivekananda's ideas or other ideas also, progressive ideas which the nation needed at that time. So you can see on the right-hand corner, okay, the esoteric circle of thought communion. You can find, this is there on their wall, and you can see Swamiji's bust there. Okay, these 4 people were considered as the role models for the society. And Swamiji was there. In 1909, this started. It was a Freemason movement, and Swami Vivekananda himself was a Freemason. If you read his life, you will find he had joined the Freemason movement in America. So in 1912, a Spanish translation of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, as edited by Swami Abhedanandaji, a direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, the original Master Mahashaya's book was condensed by Swami Abhedanandaji into another form, and that was published in Spanish in 1912 by, in Argentina, as Al Evangelio de Ramakrishna. So this book was also popular. Sri Ramakrishna's ideas reached many corners of Argentina, and it was available, this book was available in Brazil also. So that was another source of inspiration. And in Buenos Aires in Argentina, a Society of Vedanta was started by this inspiration. And Spanish translations of Karma Yoga, Raj Yoga, Jnana Yoga started coming by 1922. And in 1930, a society was formed to study Vedanta in Argentina. There was one Joseph Smith who took the lead to organize this society. And in 1932, a group of people, went from Argentina, interested in Vedanta, they went from Argentina to Belur Math to request for a Swami. He formed a group in 1930 and then wrote a letter first to Belur Math in 1930 asking for a Swami. Mahapurush Maharaj or Shivananji Maharaj was the head, was the president then in Belur Math. And by the time they could correspond and then all that, to put pressure on Belur Math, a group went in 1932 asking for a Swami to teach them Vedanta in South America. So Mahapurush Maharaj was very, agreeable to the proposal. He probably, from some reports, Swami Shivananji Maharaj saw the spread of Vedanta in South America. He had some visionary intuition. So then he deputed his own sevak, one of his assistants, Swami Vijayanandaji Maharaj, to Argentina to spread Vedanta. This Swami Vijayanandaji Maharaj was a disciple of Swami Brahmanandaji, a direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, and his earlier name was Pashupati Maharaj. Okay, he was a Bengali. He was an engineer by profession. He was a qualified engineer, a chemical engineer with a special faculty. This is a very interesting factor in Vijayanandaji's life. The Swami Vijayanandaji, Pashupati Maharaj, had a special capacity to identify the chemical content of any scent that he got. You give him a flower scent or a bottle with some scent, liquid, scented liquid, and immediately, just by scenting it once, he could write down all the chemical components of the liquid or the flower or whatever it is. So this was something extraordinary in him. He was proud of it. He had a quality and he was proud of it. And he used to exhibit it also to interested people. So when he came to Belur Math and joined under Swami Brahmanandaji knew, of course, he was a great spiritual giant himself, like Sri Ramakrishna, could read the minds of people. So after some time, one day, Swami Brahmanandaji sent a small bottle of scent to this boy, to this brahmachari. So this brahmachari was in another place. He was doing, I think, cleaning Swami Vivekananda's room or something like that. And this scent bottle came to him through another person saying, Swami Brahmanandaji wants you to see this. And so he opened it and then smelt it and then immediately noted down the chemicals. He was a master in it. He noted down all the chemicals that make up the scent and then wrote it down in a piece of paper and then sent it to Swami Brahmanandaji. Swami Brahmanandaji just looked at it once and again sent the bottle back to him. He didn't understand why it was sent to him again. So he opened it, smelt it again, checked the contents. He found everything was correct. He thought maybe he has made a mistake or something, missed some chemical, and so Brahmanandaji has asked him to see it again. But he checked everything was perfect, and then he just ticked it off, everything is correct, and then sent it back to Brahmanandaji. Now Brahmanandaji again sent it back to him, third time. And this time, when he opened the bottle to smell the contents, he could not get any idea about the contents. That faculty which he had, Brahmanandaji had simply withdrawn from him without even being in his presence. That was the spiritual power of Brahmanandaji. Because this was being a hindrance to his spiritual life, he was trying to exhibit it and maybe his ego was getting boosted. Brahmanandaji simply, as his guru, withdrew that power from him. Later on he used to say that I can no more identify any of the chemicals or anything. That power was gone from him. It was not necessary for his spiritual life. So Brahmanandaji just took it away. Anyhow, so that shows the grace of the Guru also, isn't it? So this was Swami Vijayanandaji Maharaj with such extraordinary talent. He was a wonderfully spiritual person. Brahmanandaji Maharaj definitely had given him some spiritual powers. There's another beautiful incident which comes in the life of Swami Vijayanandaji, which he writes in his reminiscences about Swami Brahmanandaji. When he was a brahmachari, Of course, he had just come out of his college, and like any young college student, he was a little rebellious in his nature, questioning everything, not accepting the usual routine and all that. So Swami Brahmananji had made a strict rule. All his disciples, all the inmates in Belur Math had to sit for meditation early in the morning with him, maybe for 2 hours. So Brahmananji used to go there into the temple by 4 o'clock, and everybody else was supposed to be there by 4 o'clock, and Brahmananji used to continue almost up to 6 o'clock meditating, and all these brahmacharis and sadhus had to be there. And Brahmananji was such a spiritual dynamo that all the people there used to have extraordinary meditation when he used to be there. He could mold or shape the minds of the people around him. Okay? So this Pashupati Maharaj, he had heard about this power of Swami Brahmananda. So he intentionally tried to bring in disturbing thoughts, thoughts which are not conducive, which are antagonistic to spiritual life and all that. Sitting there in that group, he would try to force his mind to go into some unwanted things. But he could not do it. He tried for 1 day, 2nd day, and then on the 3rd day, when he was coming down after this practice, and then coming down the steps in Belur Math, Swami Brahmananji was standing there below, waiting to catch him. And as soon as he came down, Swami Brahmananji asked him, "How long are you going to test me like this?" See, Brahmananji knew that this boy was doing it. He could pinpoint that this is the guy who was doing it amongst all those people and catch him. What must have been his genius? Huh? So Pashupati or Vijayananji Maharaj stopped from that day onwards. You find a similar incident in the Eternal Companion. Swami Prabhavananji also mentions about this. There is another interesting incident about Swami Brahmananji. I think I'm digressing so much. Sorry. So one day, a devotee asked Sri Ramakrishna in Dakshineshwar, "How do you rate the young boys who are coming near you? Naren, Rakhal, Yogen, all these young boys who are coming near you, how do you rate them? How do you estimate them?" So Sri Ramakrishna was outside his room in the Dakshineshwar garden. So he just squatted down and took a piece of wood which was lying nearby, a small stick that was lying nearby, and started drawing lines in the sand in front of him. He drew one line and said, "This is Yogen," this is Naren, a bigger line, and said, "This is Naren." And he drew one more line just next to Naren and said, "This is me." It was equal to Naren, who later on became Swami Vivekananda, and so many others, this and that. And this devotee reminded him, "Oh, what about Rakhal? You have not depicted Rakhal." So Sri Ramakrishna drew another line parallel to him, which was bigger than his own line. And then said, "Oh, it's bigger than your line." Sri Ramakrishna said, "Yes, or Adhar Bodo." He is of a big dimension. So this was Sri Ramakrishna's estimate of his spiritual son. So Swami Vijayananji came in response to, Swami Vijayananji was asked by Shivananji Maharaj to go to Argentina. And he refused. He did not want to go. This news went to M. Master Mahashaya, the recorder of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. After a few days, he came to Belur Math. He knew this young Swami, Vijayananda, and he met him and asked, "Oh, how is it, Pashupati, that you refuse to go to Argentina to spread Vivekananda and Vedanta? Swami Mahapurush Maharaj has asked you and you refused. I did not know that you were a coward. You are afraid of going and doing this work. Pashupati Maharaj said, no, I am not a coward, but I don't want to leave the holy company of Shivananji, Subodhananji, the other direct disciples who were there at the time. I love them so much. I'm serving them and I want to be here in their company, in this holy company. I don't want to go from Belur Math. M got angry. He said, this is worse than cowardice. This is selfishness. You are selfish. So this changed the mind of Pashupati or Vijayananda. He went and accepted it and then came in 1932 to Argentina. In 1933, he was a very powerful person. As I told you already, Swami Brahmananji had given him some spiritual powers. So he was tall, and you'll see his picture later on. And he learned Espanol, the Spanish language, could give lectures. He was a powerful speaker in Espanol. So this, on the left-hand side, you will see a basilica, which is called the Sanctuary of Our Lady of Aparecida. Aparecida, this lady, Our Lady of Aparecida, you'll see the image above, is a black, small image. You can see it's as if she is doing Namaste. A small image. Okay. She is considered as the patron saint of Brazil, the guardian angel of Brazil. There is an interesting story about this also. So a group of fishermen were fishing in a river one day, and they were going on trying, but they could not catch fish. They did not get any fish that day. After 3-4 times of trying, suddenly one of the fishermen, when he lifted his net, he found a small statue in the net. It is hardly this much. I've been to that basilica. It's just this much. So it's a beautiful statue with a black stone or metal image. I could not see it from that far. So it's a small image. And he saw it, got surprised. He just took it out from the river, got surprised, and then showed it to the other friends and took it to the local church, to the priest, and then he recognized it as Mother Mary's version, and they made a church and all that. The most interesting thing is, after he found this image, the next time they put their nets, they got so much of fish in the river. So it is believed that she answers all prayers. She grants all boons. So people go to her, to this basilica, with all their requests and prayers and get it granted. That is the belief. So there's a huge basilica now in Aparecida where thousands of people go. And they walk all the way from their village or towns with offerings to give it to this mother goddess. So she is Our Lady of Aparecida. If you go to Brazil, Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, in most of the houses, you will find this Lady of Aparecida there, and in the shops, of course. And on the right side, you will find another image of a goddess. She is considered to be the goddess of the seas, the oceans, water, Lamanja. So she is the mother of the waters, and she is worshipped by the Aboriginal people. So the Umbanda or the Candomblé, all these Aboriginal belief systems are there in South America, which is a mixture of African religion and the South American belief systems that was there. So she is considered to be the goddess of water. And on 1st January, New Year Day, people from different parts of Rio and other areas, they take offerings in their hand, fruits and flowers, and then go and offer it to the sea, to the ocean, like we do in the Ganges in India. Okay, so this mother worship or accepting the Supreme as feminine or as mother. This aspect is there in the custom of Brazil and Argentina. So here is the next most important thing that happened in Brazil. You will see this person, Arlindo Corrêa da Silva. He was a journalist in one important city, Minas Gerais, where we have a center today, Belo Horizonte. So he was a simple journalist, middle-class family. One day he was just sitting outside his room. There was a small pond in front of his house. He was sitting in front of the pond, thinking about something. It was around early morning time, and suddenly he found somebody coming up from the pool. A vision that was happening, some person, he could not recognize the person. He had never seen such robes, and the person was of a dignified stature. He did not know who he was, but that person started talking to him. I don't know in which language. I could not get this, whether it was Portuguese or English, I don't know. So he started talking to him and told him, do something for the poor children around you. Why don't you do something? Serve the poor. So this man got confused. Oh, why is he coming and telling me to help the poor children? He did not know who he was, whether he should follow this, what is being told. He got confused. Then he had a spiritual teacher in the local church. Sorry. He went there, met his master, and told him what had happened. He said, do I do what he says? Should I follow what he says? That person, that father or the parishioner who was there, was a spiritual man probably, and he said, yes, you should do this. You must follow him. It's a true vision that you have had. So then he comes back, then gathers some 3 or 4 poor children who were around his house and started teaching them some subjects in his house. Every day evening he used to bring them and then start teaching some subjects, mathematics, this and that. So after 3 days, he again had a vision of the same person. The same person comes and tells him, I'm happy that you've started, but this is a very small thing that you have done. I want it to be in a huge way. Not just 3 or 4 children from your neighborhood and spending a few minutes in their company. No. I want you to do it on a bigger scale. Go and find a big place. So then again this man got confused, went to his master. The master said, yes, follow him. It's true. So then he started looking for some friends who could help him, and then finally found a place a little away from the city, a big place called Beting. The institution is a huge, beautiful institution now, Instituição Ramakrishna, okay? Or they had named it as Missão Ramakrishna. Then the headquarters wrote to them that you cannot keep the same name, you will have to change. So then they went for Instituição Ramakrishna. So this man, single-handed, he started this huge institution which trains thousands of boys and girls in that area, Minas Gerais, in various ways. Education, computers, then you have AI, now you have drone technology, you have robotics, you have printing, you have carpentry, you have packaging industry, you have, they make excellent mesh, this iron mesh. They have a huge factory, which is the most popular product of this institution. They get trained in that. And most of the students who come out of this institution are absorbed by various industries. Various industries and factories sponsor their study there. They give them grants, free food is given to them, free boarding, everything is free. So it started like that, 100, 200 students, 300 students. So as the number started increasing, he made a hostel for the boys and girls, okay? So when it was 200, 300 students, and after some time, they had no water. There was water scarcity. So he started contacting somebody to have a bore well dug in that place. So the company came with the machines looking for a place to dig the bore well. They could not decide on the place. And again, he had a vision. The same person came to him in a vision and said, dig it in this place, pointed to a particular spot and said, you dig it here, you will get water. So he accepted it and started doing it. And after some time, after going a little deep, they encountered a huge stone. The machine would not go. And the workers said, we cannot do it anymore. But then again, the Swami came in a vision. Fourth time, the Swami came in a vision and told him, no, just a little more and you will get a good source of water, clean, good water. So he said, no, please do it. And then they went further down and got a beautiful source of water which is supplying water to them even now, after all these years. So then, how did he know who this person was? That's the next question. So one of his friends from Portugal sent him a small book on the life of Sri Ramakrishna in Portuguese. And as soon as he got it by post, it came to him by post, he started reading. And he found in that a picture of Swami Brahmananda. And he immediately recognized, oh, this is the person who came to me in repeated visions. See, of all the persons, Swami Brahmananda coming there and telling him to do service, to serve the poor. If it was Swami Vivekananda, we would have all accepted. Yes, he was for service. But Brahmananji was a meditative type, so spiritually oriented. But you see, the idea is the same. So Arlindo started this wonderful service. He is no more now, but you can all visit. I have gone to that place. So many of our Swamis have gone to that place. There's a beautiful shrine they have. In the center is Sri Ramakrishna's painting. They have a beautiful painting of Sri Ramakrishna. Then there is Sharda Devi, there is Brahmananji. All these, Buddha, Christ, all of them are there. So it's a wonderful institution, you see. And the name of Ramakrishna is there. They used to make noodles, Ramakrishna noodles. Yes, it was so popular. It used to be available in all the shops. Unfortunately, they have stopped producing it now for some reason. But it was so popular. And then they make furniture, excellent furniture from paper mache, wood, and all that. So this is a wonderful institution. See how the inspiration of Sri Ramakrishna works in different ways. This is Swami Vijayanandji, okay? This is Swami Vijayanandji on the left side, and that is Swami Nirmal Atmanji, who is the head of our Sao Paulo center, who is the spiritual guru in Brazil. He came in 1999 to Brazil. So after Swami Vijayanandji's passing away in 1973, he passed away in 1973, so he was followed by another Swami, Swami Paratparananda. For a few years, he was called back to Belur Math, and then there was a small gap. So during this gap, many of our senior Swamis from America, like Swami Bhaskaranandji and Swami Bhavyanandji from UK, Swami Ratajanandji from France, all these people visited frequently, almost every year. They used to come to Brazil, initiate people, give talks, and the movement kept itself together. Swami Nirmalatmaji came and consolidated, contacted all the disciples of Vijayanandji and made it more strong. This is the center in Argentina where the movement first started. So this is Swami Pareshananji. Swami Vijayanandji was first posted to Argentina. But from Argentina, he used to come from 1952 onwards. He started coming to Brazil. These people contacted him and requested him to come to Brazil also. So he used to come to Rio, stay in a rented apartment and give talks to people. Every day there used to be meetings. He would also address people in local auditoriums. They used to organize programs. So he was followed by Paratparanji, as I said. And after Paratparanji, after a gap, came Paresharanji, who is the spiritual head of Argentina now. He is a senior monk. He is around 80 years old. Okay? So this is the center in Buenos Aires, the capital of Argentina. This is the center in Rio de Janeiro. This is an independent house, a castle. This house was built in 1865 when Sri Ramakrishna was alive. You can see it written there. Okay, it's a heritage building, and there's no cement used in this building. It's all stones and whale oil and mud used for plastering. So the walls are thick, so around 1.5 feet wide walls, and it keeps the building cool even in summer. So Rio summers can go up to 40, 41 degrees centigrade. It's hot. So, but inside the building is really cool always. And in winters, it's warm. So this is the building. We have a parking place behind for around 6 to 8 cars we can park. The above is a hall, maybe just a little, or this much, as big as this hall, where we conduct the lectures and everything. A part of it is the kitchen and the dining hall. And below, we have the temple, which can accommodate around 60 people, and the monks' quarters, the living quarters, and a small office. So this is the house. So it's a heritage building. The tiles and everything are of those times. So we can't change the facade or the front. Internal changes can be done, not the outside. This is Rio de Janeiro for you. Most of the important places. You have Christ the Redeemer, the most famous iconic statue of Rio. You can see it from many parts of Rio. It's a beautiful place. And then you have Sugar Loaf. This is another beautiful place where people can go by a ropeway above and then hand glide. The beaches, full of beaches. Rio is full of beaches. This is the center activities. So we have a vibrant group of devotees who come and sing Arati songs and all this without any books. They join in the music. They are all good in music. They sing excellent songs. Then we have pujas on special days, and potluck. People bring various things from their homes. We offer it to Sri Ramakrishna and we all share the food. And then for the classes which we have on Sunday evenings 5 to 6 we have classes. I am handling Yoga Sutra now. For 1 year I took Bhagavad Gita, and now I am doing Yoga Sutra. We have around 35 to 40 people, and they are all local Brazilian, no Indians in that community. In all of Brazil, probably we have around 200 Indians, okay? Because the language is different, first. They'll have to learn a new language. And second, Brazil is a developing country. It's not like America where you have a lot of resources and then people can make money. So, okay, Brazil is mainly only Brazilians come. You can see the population. It's a mixed population, okay?
The 3 Swamis that are sitting there?
Yes, Maharaj. So that is Swami Nirmalatmanji, Swami Pragnatmananji, and myself. Pragnatmanji is the head of Kuruchiba.
Okay.
So you see, this is Pragnatmanji, Baburaj Maharaj. He's the head of Kuruchiba Center. So this is Nirmalatmanji, Pragnatmanji, and myself. Yeah, Pragnatmanji is also a very good singer. Yeah. Okay. So when he came on a visit, so this is these pictures are from that time. People are interested in the classes, in the Yoga Sutras or the Bhagavad Gita. They make notes, they record, and then bring textbooks. They are very interested. So this is the celebration that we have, when we have celebrations, and also free service that is done. We collect dry food materials like rice and lentils and noodles and other products People, devotees bring it, we have a place, a designated place, they go on keeping it there, and we give it to the homeless and the poor once in a month, every month. Another activity that you find there is during Christmas time. When these poor people, the children especially from the favelas, from the slums as they are called, favelas, when they cannot celebrate, when they feel deprived, they don't have new clothes, they have no new toys. So we collect money and then buy some toys and gift items, pack them up nicely, and arrange everything. We announce a date, and these poor people come to take these gifts. It's given to them. You see, you can see this. This is during Christmas. This is one important service activity. So in Sao Paulo and in Rio, we give food items, dry food items, not cooked items, we distribute regularly. This is the shrine temple in Sao Paulo, which was the main center, and the temple outside. This was actually a marriage hall which came up for sale, and the Swami purchased it and got it remodified into a beautiful temple. So the hall was there, all the facilities were there. So this is the temple. So the monastic quarters, the monks' quarters is just one house apart. These are the publications. Our Sao Paulo ashram publishes all the Portuguese versions of the Ramakrishna Vivekananda literature. You will find the 4 yogas, which are very popular, Portuguese versions of that. And Eternal Companion, Swami Brahmananda, is very popular because Vijayanand Maharaj's guru. And we have a quarterly Vedanta, which comes once in 3 months in Portuguese, which is also popular. And then meditation by Swami Bhaskarananda, and some books of Chetananji in English. We keep them, but people can't read English much. A few of them do read. We are giving a lot of importance to spread of literature. So now the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna was already there, as I told you, an abridged version was there. Now a new version of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the complete version of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the first volume is coming, as we have it in the English and the Bengali and other languages. So exactly according to what Master Mahashaya wrote. So that is coming out in November. The first edition, the first volume of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is going to be released by the ambassador of India to Brazil. So they are going to have a program. It's already in the press. It's finalized. So with a lot of pictures and all the latest information. So this much about the work that is happening in Brazil. This is Embu Gosu, a center which is about 30 kilometers from Sao Paulo. This is a big farm place amidst the forests, and a beautiful temple and a house. Swami Ritajananji Maharaj, who was the head of our Gretz France Center, he used to come frequently to Brazil, and he liked this place so much. He used to stay here for almost 1 month doing tapasya and meeting people. It's a beautiful rural setting, very nice place. It's the subcenter of Sao Paulo, Embu Gosu. This is the center in Belo Horizonte, another subcenter of Sao Paulo. So the house is again independent. This is the temple, shrine there. It's a nice place. They have another building where they can give computer education, tailoring, physiotherapy, and other service activities. That's a nice center.
If you point it this way, it's easier if you point it that way.
Yeah, okay. So this is Brasilia, the capital of Brazil. So this is another sub-center which was just now affiliated to the Ramakrishna order as a sub-center. So this is again an independent, not an independent house, a separate property. So there's a good group of devotees Swami Nirmalatmanji, I have also gone there. Swami Nirmalatmanji goes there regularly and conducts programs, brings in devotees. This is the other independent center that I was mentioning, Curitiba. This is on a hill in the southern part of Brazil, again on the sea front. And this place is a hill station-like, so it can be cold, like Shillong or maybe Ooty. So, the temperatures in winter can go down to maybe 4, 5, minus 4, 5. Sometimes snowfall. A very pleasant place. So this is the ashram there. Baburaj Maharaj, Pragnat Manji is here. This is the building, Some other parts of the building we have shown you. Inside the hall and everything. Okay. So this one. I'll just tell you one more incident. Do we still have time? Do we still have time? What's the time now?
Well, in a few minutes.
In a few minutes, okay. So one day, Sri Ramakrishna was lying down on his bed in his room in Dakshineshwar, and he was in samadhi. He was not responding to the people around him. Rakhal and many of the young disciples were sitting there. It was around noontime. Holy Mother and Lokhi Didi, his niece, they came to offer food, bring his food. They came with the food arranged in plates and wanted to serve Sri Ramakrishna. So as soon as these ladies came, the young boys left the room to give them place for feeding Sri Ramakrishna. They came in and they found Sri Ramakrishna lying on the bed, unresponsive, merged in samadhi. His body was cold. So after trying to wake him up for some time by calling him and all that, by touching him, Holy Mother became anxious and started pressing his feet, trying to wake him up. And he was not responding, and she got worried and started crying. Maybe Sri Ramakrishna has left his body. She started crying, and then Lakshmi also started crying. Both of them started crying, and hearing the noise, the young disciples, Rakhal and others, rushed to the room. Why are you crying? What happened? And then they told, you see, Sri Ramakrishna is not responding. We are afraid. So they also started calling Sri Ramakrishna. Rakhal went and started telling the names of God in his ears, and then others started pushing him and trying to wake him up. And after some effort, Sri Ramakrishna's mind came down. He came back from samadhi and then said, why are you creating so much commotion? Why all this noise? Then they said, oh, you are not responding. We have been calling you for such a long time and there was no response. So we became anxious. That's why we started shouting. Sri Ramakrishna said, oh, why did you call me back? I was in such a beautiful place. I said, what? I said, I was in a foreign land. There are all people of white complexion. They were taking care of me, serving me so much. I was enjoying their company and devotion. They were all of pure hearts, Sri Ramakrishna said. So, Sri Ramakrishna was welcomed in the West, and therefore you find a spread of Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, Vedanta in the West. People admire his liberal ideas, universal ideas, his love for humanity, his love for God, and seeing God in the human. So this is Sri Ramakrishna, and this is what we can learn from Sri Ramakrishna. Once Sharat, who was a young boy, who later on became Swami Sharadananda, a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, when he came to Sri Ramakrishna had this question always to anybody who came new. How do you like to appreciate God? How would you like to approach truth? Formless or the form aspect with form? Which God appeals to you? This is his question usually. So he asked this question to Sharat. How would you like to approach truth? Do you like God with form or God without form? And Sharat said, oh, Sharat was a very frank boy, truthful. He said, I don't know whether God is with form or without form. How do I say which appeals to me? He was very frank. Sri Ramakrishna liked his frankness. And then then he said, oh, what is it that appeals to you most? Tell me. So he said, oh, for me, seeing God in every one is the most appealing, Sharat said. Sri Ramakrishna said, oh, that is the culmination. Seeing God in every human being, everywhere, is the highest spiritual experience, Sri Ramakrishna says. So now, when we learn from Sri Ramakrishna, we learn that appreciating and seeing God, seeing the infinite possibility in each human soul, as Swami Vivekananda put it, that is the highest ideal that we need to imbibe and practice in our life. Thank you. I'm really grateful to Swamiji for giving me a patient hearing. Thank you, Maharaj. A warm welcome to you all to come to our centers in Brazil whenever it's possible. Okay? Just come down south and you will be in Brazil.
Many thanks, dear Atmajnananda, for giving such illuminating discourse about teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, learning from Sri Ramakrishna, and more importantly, in a way, telling us about various centers in Brazil, their origin, very inspiring. So, and also thank you for inviting all of us to visit Brazil. Very good. So, I am sure some of us will act on that. Coming Sunday, again there is a guest lecture. Guest means when this fellow is not speaking, it is called a guest lecture. So, it will be Tushar Puranik who will be speaking on a journey into the world of Upanishads. So that is the topic on coming Sunday. All our other programs will go on as usual. The Tuesday, Friday classes, early morning and evening meditations and prayers, as you can find in the flyer, all are going on. So you can participate in one or more or all of these. So now I'll conclude with the closing prayers. There will be the Arati in the adjacent prayer hall, but you can join the Arati by sitting right here as well. It will be shown here. So, oh yes, one thing that is not in the flyer, and that is we are beginning the Hatha Yoga, the yoga posture classes from coming Tuesday, 5 to 6 p.m. So they were suspended during the pandemic, and now we are restarting them. So please take the benefit of those. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. So you can sit here and join the Arati. You can go there also, but if you want to go there, please take off your footwear right under the seat that you are sitting here. And after this, there will be a very special music concert, Indian ragas being played on slide guitar by a very accomplished artist, Ritam Sarkar. So please make it a point to come for that as well. It is in the hall in the basement.
Arti in English. Thank you. English.